Hare Krishna. We'll start with prayers. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschate Deshatarine वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा. A very warm welcome to all devotees from ISKCON Calgary and other devotees who have logged in online. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. If devotees at Calgary as well as the others are able to hear me clearly, please raise both your hands up in the air and say Hari Bol. Okay, good. Thank you so much for doing that. All right. So this is my very, very special service to all the devotees of ISKCON Calgary, Canada. Okay. So we're going to discuss today two shlokas. The first canto, fifth chapter, shloka number 8 and 9. That's what we're going to discuss. So let's right away jump. Shri Narada Uvacha भवतानुदितप्रायं यशो भगवतोऽमलं येनैवासौ न तुष्येत मन्ये तद्दर्शनमखिलम्. Can someone from Calgary read?
Sri Narada said, "You have hardly broadcast the sublime and spotless glories of the personality of Godhead. That philosophy, which does not satisfy the transcendental senses of the Lord, is considered worthless."
Okay, what has happened? Vyasdev with his disciples, grand disciples, great grand disciples, has written the Vedas, Puranas, Itihasas, Samhitas, and Vedanta Sutra and Mahabharata. Everything is done and set. And after having accomplished all these things also, Vyasdev was experiencing some kind of dissatisfaction in heart. He was experiencing some incompleteness in heart. He was not feeling very fulfilled. And Prabhupada uses the term despondency. He was not very happy, even after being well accomplished. So this is a situation with many people in this world. They have external achievement, but lack of inner fulfillment. There is no fulfillment, very unfortunately. So Vyasdev was also experiencing lack of fulfillment. And what does Narad Muni, his guru, tell? You have not glorified and broadcasted the spotless glories of Krishna. You have not done sufficient Krishna Katha. Okay? Next time anybody is feeling sad, morose, dejected, down, what is the root cause? We have not done sufficient Krishna Katha. That's fact. We have not done sufficient Krishna Katha. We have not listened to sufficient Krishna Katha. This is the reason why people feel dejected. This is the ultimate cause. See, because Shastras attack the root. There are three types of causes. I'll just show it to you. There is something called immediate cause. This is visible. There's something called remote cause, which is far away. And then there is something which is called as ultimate cause. The Shastras always speak from this point of view, the ultimate cause. And sometimes people may see the ultimate cause and say, "Arey, you are not talking practical. Arey, practical कोई चीज बात करो ना. Theoretical क्यों बात कर रहे हो? Talk practical." But Shastras talk practical. Vyasdev did not glorify Krishna, as a result of which he was not feeling that fulfillment. Let's go on. The style in which we'll do is we will read little bit of purport and we'll discuss. Please read.
The eternal relation of an individual soul with the Supreme Soul
Supreme Soul Personality of Godhead, is constitutionally one of being the eternal servitor of the eternal Master. The Lord has expanded himself as living beings in order to accept loving service from them. And this alone can satisfy both the Lord and the living beings. Such a, such a scholar
Okay.
as
Okay.
Vyasadeva.
Okay. 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 Thank you. You have to read from the screen, Prabhu.
Yeah,
Thank
from
you.
the
We'll have some discussion. So Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead. We say na Ishwaraha Parama Krishna Sachidananda Vigraha Anadiradir Govinda Sarvakarana Karanam. So Krishna expands. He says, in order to have loving reciprocation. I was just coming from a program in Forest County, and one gentleman was asking, Prabhuji, you gave wonderful class. लेकिन कितना अच्छा होता अगर हम होते ही नहीं हम लोग क्यों आए आप नहीं होते मैं नहीं होते कोई झंझट नहीं होता झमेला नहीं होता there was no problem if you are not there I was not there God was not there nothing would have been there it would have been so nice I said do you have that experience nothingness how can you be so sure it is nice you are thinking it is nice so this is Buddhist philosophy many people think that Buddhist philosophy is propagated by Buddha no there is something in a shastra only which is called as Bauddha Siddhanta the philosophy of Buddha means there is no soul this is an atheistic philosophy that soul doesn't exist after all we all know nothing exists everything is shunya no this is wrong this is not the truth if it had existed then it was another question but why to be hypothetical so Krishna eternally existed and he wanted loving reciprocations and because Krishna wanted loving reciprocations he said bahusyam I become many so he expanded as swa amshas which are the Vishnu tattvas Vasudeva Pradyumna Sankarshan Aniruddha Balrama Mahavishnu Garbhodakshaya Vishnu Karanodakshaya Vishnu etc they are called as swa amshas Matsya Kurma Varaha Narsimha Rama all of them and he also expanded into tiny sparks called Vibhinnamshas which are the Jivatmas all of us correct the Jivas are satisfied when they serve the Lord and Lord is satisfied by accepting our service correct so Jivas are satisfied when we serve Lord and Lord is satisfied when he accepts service so there was one preacher who came and told me Prabhu Sanatana Dharma Prabhu I love to speak many classes please engage me and I said I love to hear so we are a good combination right you speak I will hear so I'll arrange many lectures you speak lectures I'll hear and make notes there was another devotee said Prabhu I love to cook for devotees I said I love to eat you love to cook I love to eat we are a good combination very nice it will be very wonderful correct so similarly Jiva and Krishna complement each other Jiva's nature is to serve and Krishna accepts the service question does Krishna need our service think I'm not asking think let us find out does Krishna really need our service there's a beautiful shloka that comes in the Bhagavatam नैवात्मन प्रभुरयं निजलाभपूर्णो मानं जनादविदुषः करुणो वृणीते यद्यज्जनो भगवते विदधीतमानं तच्चात्मने प्रतिमुखस्य यथा मुखश्री So this is a beautiful section, a sloka from the section of Prahlad Maharaj, where he says that actually Krishna doesn't need any service from us. No, he's full. He's fulfilled. It is we who need to serve Krishna to feel fulfilled. भगवान को कुछ नहीं चाहिए. God doesn't need. We serve the Lord, we experience fulfillment. And because the jivas will experience fulfillment, that is why Krishna accepts our service. And example that is given here is suppose there is a person, okay, a person standing in front of mirror. How many of you stand in front of mirror every day? Be honest. Come on, Prabhu, all of us, even you do that. Yeah, we all stand in front of mirror for some reason or the other every single day. And suppose, oh Prabhu, there is tilak missing. What do I do? I apply tilak to the mirror or over here? Oh, tilak is missing. Chalo, let me apply tilak to the. Oh, it will be very vague. We apply the tilak on our face and the reflection automatically gets the tilak. Yes or no? If you don't know this, please try it. Try to apply tilak and tilak will come on the mirror. If it's not coming, then there is something seriously wrong with the mirror. Okay. So we apply tilak here, the reflection gets the tilak. Similarly, we serve Krishna and give Krishna the fulfillment. When Krishna is pleased, yasmin tushte jagat tushtam. When the object is pleased, automatically the part and parcels are pleased. Let me give you an example. Recently, we had His Holiness Bhakti Chaitanya Swami Maharaj, who had come to our BYC, our Bhakti Yoga Club Kharadi, our center, and he came. Now, as a sannyasi, Maharaj eats only once a day. But the devotee Matajis, they wanted to cook for Maharaj. What to do, Maharaj? So although Maharaj does eat once a day just because to give service and satisfaction to the Matajis and to give them, because by serving Maharaj, they will advance spiritually. He allowed them to cook, all right, please bring. And he ate one item a little so that we get spiritual advancement and we get the Mahaprasad, right, of Maharaj. So he ate it for us. He didn't need it, but he ate to give us mercy. Similarly, myself and His Grace Atman Prabhu, we were all both were discussing Maharaj ka foot wash karna hai ki nahi? Should we wash? Because that's how we receive sannyasi in Shastra. So we checked with our superiors, and our superior said, if Maharaj wants, we can do. So Maharaj didn't need it, but just to give both of us mercy, he allowed us to do. So similarly, Krishna doesn't need our service, but in order to give mercy to us, he gives us an opportunity to serve him. Is this clear? All right. We go ahead in the purport. Please read.
As Vyasadeva had completed many expansions of the Vedic literatures, ending with the Vedanta philosophy, but none of them had been written directly glorifying the personality of Godhead. Dry philosophical speculations, even on the transcendental subject of the Absolute, have very little attraction without directly dealing with the glorification of the Lord. The personality of Godhead is the last word in transcendental realization. The Absolute, realized as impersonal Brahman or localized Supersoul, Paramatma, is less productive of transcendental bliss than the supreme personal realization of his glories.
Thank you. So did Vyasdev glorify Krishna or not? He did mention Krishna. He did glorify Krishna, but there is a problem. The problem is he glorified everybody else also. Let me all tell you a true story, that true thing that happened. There was one family who had a vow that every generation of the family will organize 108 Bhagavad Saptas. 108 Bhagavad Saptas in their life. 108. They have to organize. So that was a vow that they had taken, the family. And this family had completed 107. For the 108th, they invited an ISKCON devotee. And every day, the katha was for 8 hours. There were breaks, there were sessions, 4 sessions. First day, first show, first session. The organizer of the class, after he heard from the devotee, he got up, he went back and started weeping. He started crying. And the preacher felt that, oh, I think I've offended this person. I have spoken something that hurt him. Let me go and talk to him. He said, Prabhu, what happened? Did I speak something inappropriate? And he said, no, Prabhuji. Then why are you crying? That's because I organized 107 Bhagavad Saptas. And now, after your first class, I realized Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Hare Krishna. So nobody spoke the truth. So Krishna as Supreme Personality of Godhead is not presented in other. You will not get that clarity. You may think, oh, maybe Brahma is God. No, maybe Shiva is God. Maybe Devi is Supreme. Maybe all are same. This is what is the vague understanding that develops. There is no clear understanding that develops when you read other literatures. Correct? How many of you have gone to some typical Indian home? Typical Indian home, there will always be a puja room. And puja room, there will always be an altar. An altar, you will find everyone there. You never even heard anyone's name, even they will also be there. This is our Kula Devata. This is Saraswati Devi. This is Ganesh. This is Lakshmi Devi. This is Shiv Parvati, this is Krishna also there, this is Sita Ram, Lakshman, Hanuman, this is this Baba, that is that Baba, and so many things. So we will have a conception, the more we know public relation. Just like public relation, we should have divine relations. The more relations we will have more advantage. So people try their level best to build multiple connects. They feel like that. So just like seeing the altar of a typical Indian home, nobody can make out who's God. Similarly, by reading the Shastras, which are other than Bhagavatam, one will not be able to clearly make out if Krishna is God. It will not be very clear. That is how, because demigods are also glorified. So it creates confusion in one sense. Next, Mahabharata. In Mahabharata also, if you see, you don't develop that kind of devotion after Mahabharata. In fact, why was Mahabharata written? The purpose of writing Mahabharata was actually Bhagavad Gita. Yeah, Vyasdev wanted to actually give Bhagavad Gita, but how to give Bhagavad Gita, people will not read. So what he did, he created a nice story. Yes, he explained. There were two parties. Actually, both these parties were very thick kin. They were brothers, yes, cousins, but still they fought with each other and killed one another. Interesting story. Family masala. People want this. This is something that people are excited. So Vyasdev thought, at least when I present like this family masala, people will end up reading the Bhagavad Gita. But Kali Yuga fellows are over smart. They read the entire family masala, the war, everything, and when it comes to Bhagavad Gita, they skip that section. They skip it, go ahead. Hare Krishna. Vasudev, you're smart, we are super smart. Hare Krishna. And unfortunately, people lose the essence, which is Bhagavad Gita. Even if you read the entire Mahabharata, Krishna is one of the figures in Mahabharata. He is not the central figure exactly. He is not the one who is exclusively glorified. Yes, he's just part of the picture, not the center of the picture. That is why there is one shloka that comes, it'll come ahead in your discussion. Naishkarmyam apyachyuta bhava varajitam na shobhate jnanamalam niranjanam kuta punashashvadram ishvare na charpitam karma yadapyakaranam. So this shloka tells us that even if a literature, it may be a spiritual literature talking about soul, talking about spirituality, talking about liberation, but if that literature does not contain Krishna Katha, Achyuta Bhava means devotional sentiments for Krishna. If that is not there, such literature no shobhate. There is no use. We don't want to study such literatures. Correct? Very unfortunate. And what happens as a result of studying such literatures? A person becomes Veda Vadarata. Prabhupada describes about this person, Veda Vadarata, in the 9th mantra of the Ishopanishad. Veda Vadarata. Veda Vadarata means person whose knowledge is stolen by Maya. So this person reads the Shastras, but what he does, number one, yes, he knows all the shlokas, but he doesn't know the purpose. He knows the content of the Vedas, but doesn't know the intent of Vedas. Let me tell you something very interesting. When I studied in my college, I had 3 batchmates who knew the 18,000 shlokas of Bhagavatam by heart. I'm serious. They knew all the shlokas. There was one of them, he knew 24,000 shlokas of Ramayana also, Valmiki Ramayana, by heart. You ask him left, right, center, he would quote. But none of these fellows would chant even one round of Hare Krishna Mahamantra. What is the conclusion of Bhagavatam? Nama Sankirtanam Yasya Sarva Papa Pranashanam. I tried to talk to those people. I said, please, my dear great soul, you know all the shlokas. What is the conclusion word? They will also say, Nama Sankirtanam Yasya Sarva Papa Pranashanam. They could recite. Then why aren't you doing that? They had no answer. So they know the content, but they don't follow the intent. So this is one category of Veda Vadarata. We don't have to become like that. So mostly reading the other Puranas, person would become like that. The next, divert others also from Vedas. They would use the Vedas and divert others from, oh, we'll preach. So these are very dangerous fellows. They study the Vedas and divert others from the purpose of Vedas. They also preach it openly, boldly. Oh, this is what is there in Vedas. This is what is there in Shastras. Yes, this is the conclusion. This is the purpose, etc. Third thing, they condemn the Puranas. So there is a huge class of people who tell actually we should only study the Shrutis. because they are direct words of Lord. Smritis are memories of the sages which are not authentic. One should not study it. But wait a minute. It is Chandogya Upanishad says that Smritis are the Pancham Ved. They are the fifth Vedas. Why you don't accept it? In fact, for a Brahmana is supposed to have Shastra Chakshu. How many eyes do we have? Please show me fingers. This is to keep you active. How many eyes do you have? I want to check if you're all awake and you actually have eyes. How many? 2 eyes. Good. You all have 2 eyes. What if I give you 1 crore rupees? I'll talk in terms of rupees because I'm in India. Will you give me 1 eye? How many of you will give me 1 eye for 1 crore? Okay. 10 crores. Nobody would do that. I'm just asking 1 eye. Nobody will do that because we understand even 1 eye is very important. The vision is very important. So to remove the smriti for a Brahmana is like closing 1 eye and only seeing with 1 eye, because Shruti and Smriti are the 2 eyes of Brahmana. And only when we have both these eyes, Shrutis and Smritis, then we'll have proper Shastra Chakshu. Otherwise, we cannot have proper Shastra Chakshu. And why these people reject the Smritis is in Smritis you cannot speculate. It directly speaks. Bhagavatam directly speaks. On the other hand, Shrutis people speculate. This is the reason they reject Veda Vadratas. Next one is they don't come in any Guru Parampara. They just simply speculate. They know some Sanskrit. They keep speculating. This is not good. And finally, the last snare of Maya is they say, we are gods. We are gods. And that's why Prabhupada would say, anyone who says, I am God is actually dog. He would say that. This is the last snare of Maya. Finally, they come to this point. We are gods ultimately. Yeah, please go ahead. So the whole point why I explained this is to make it clear that Vyasadev's literature was not exactly serving the purpose. That's what Narada is trying to say. They were creating Veda Vadratas. Okay, go on.
The compiler of the Vedanta Darshana is Vyasadeva himself, yet he is troubled, although he is the author. So, what sort of transcendental bliss can be derived by the readers and listeners of Vedanta if it is not explained directly by Vyasadeva, the author? Herein arises the necessity of explaining the Vedanta Sutra in the form of Srimad Bhagavatam by the same author.
Hare Krishna. There is a famous motivational speaker. I don't want to quote his name. Famous motivational speaker who used to give so much motivation to others. Currently, is in depression. Everyone knows about it. I would request the devotees to mute your microphone once you have read. Okay. So he is in great depression today. Now you tell me, at one point of time he had 3.5 million followers, 4 million followers, 7 million followers. Now how many followers he will have? Nobody. Because he is not able to motivate himself. He is not motivating himself, what he will motivate others? What is the use of your motivational speech? Right? So motivational speaker is not able to motivate others, he himself is in depression. Similarly, there was one great comedian who made so many people laugh. But he himself was very shallow. He committed suicide. I don't want to tell name. This is a few years back, about a decade ago. He committed suicide and died. A famous comedian, because he himself was frustrated. He was giving others so-called happiness and joy, but himself was not fulfilled at heart. Hare Krishna. Finished. So all the point that I'm trying to say here is that Vyasdev, the author of the Vedanta Sutra, Puranas, after compiling all these, he was frustrated. Will the readers be happy then? If the followers of the motivation speaker, the motivation speaker himself is frustrated, how will the followers become happy? They will also be frustrated, right? It's the same way Vyasdev has compiled all these things and he is not feeling fulfilled. How will we feel fulfillment after reading this? And that is why Vyasdev, what he says in the beginning of Bhagavatam, what does he say? He says, he'll just for this is the second verse. Srimad Bhagavate Mahamuni Krite Kimma Parerishvara. He says, I have written I am Mahamuni Vyasdev declaring to you openly, please read Bhagavatam. There is no need to read anything else. There's absolutely no need to touch anything else. Srimad Bhagavatam is good enough. He's realized now in this particular statement. And similar lines we understand, a happy devotee is the best preacher. Imagine somebody says, please chant Hare Krishna and you'll be very happy. And he himself is very depressed. Will people be inspired to chant? He says, chanting is the most tastiest process. Come, let us chant the holy name. Hare Krishna. Ram, Ram, Hare. He himself is dozing off and sleeping and chanting. Will people be inspired to chant them? That is why it is said a happy devotee is the best preacher. A happy devotee is best preacher. When people see around that a devotee is happy, then people will say, okay, Krishna consciousness works. Let me try this, give it a shot. So here, very clearly, other Puranas, Shastras don't work because Vyasadeva is not fulfilled. Author is not fulfilled. How can the Shastra be fulfilling? So Bhagavatam is fulfilling, not other literatures. Clear? We go to the next verse. Yata dharmadayascha munivaryānukirtitaः न तथा वासुदेवस्य महिमा हि अनुवर्णिताः. Please read.
Although great sage, you have very broadly described the four principles beginning with religious performances. You have not described to such an extent the glories of the Supreme Personality, Vasudeva.
Oh. I'll tell you a story. One day, the son of Parikshit Maharaj, his name was Janmejay, he was sitting very depressed, very sad, morose. Nobody had the courage to go and talk to him. His ministers, his friends, his counselors, neither his wife, nobody was willing to go. And they all finally went and reported to his guru, Vaishampayana, that Aapka disciple dekho, look at your disciple. This guy seems very frustrated. Please go to him. And his guru, Vaishampayan, went there and he looked at his disciple, Janmejaya, and he understood that this guy is really depressed. I need to do something. And he's not in the mood to talk to anyone. His body language is, just stay away from me. Get out. Don't come near me, whoever you are. So that was his body language. So Janmejaya goes to him and utters two words. He says, Vanabhangam go haranam. Vanabhangam go haranam. And Janmejaya's attention is immediately caught. And he also repeats the word. Vanabhangam go haranam. Vanabhangam go haranam. What is this? Then, using these two words, Vaishampayana teaches him Ramayana and Mahabharata. What is Vanabhangam? Hanuman destroying the forest of Ravana. That is Vanabhangam. And Goharanam is Duryodhan and Kurus kidnapping all the cows of Virat Desh. Goharanam. With just two keywords, he explained the entire Ramayana and Mahabharata. And after this, he asks, so what is your realization? Again, he becomes morose. Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. These four things. That's all I could hear. Gurudev, I'm sick and tired of hearing these four things. Every Shastra speaks only of these four things. Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. What is something beyond this? I know Krishna Katha is beyond this. Please speak Krishna Katha and I'll be yours for the rest of the eternity. I'll keep hearing. You please keep on speaking Krishna Katha and I'll keep listening to Krishna Katha. So this is a realization we get from the Shastra that Krishna Katha is much beyond Dharma, Artha, Kama and Moksha. These are called the Purusharthas, but there are a lot of things beyond the Purusharthas. So Narada Muni said the same thing to Vyasadeva, that you have not described anything beyond the Purusharthas. And that's not the Janmejaya was also unhappy. So similarly, how can your audience be happy? Yeah, purport.
The prompt diagnosis of Sri Narada is at once declared. The root cause of the despondency of Vyasadeva was his deliberate avoidance of glorifying the Lord in his various editions of the Puranas. He has certainly, as a matter of course, given descriptions of the glories of the Lord Sri Krishna, but not as many as given to religiosity, economic development, sense gratification, and salvation. These four items are by far inferior to engagement in the devotional service of the Lord.
What is the word mentioned here? Deliberate avoidance of glorification of Krishna. Do we do that? Do we do that? Oh, we speak about Krishna, people may go away. Let's speak something else. Let's speak some motivational stories. We'll speak some moral of the stories and try to some get in people, build some relationship, and then one fine day we may give Hare Krishna to them. How many of us sometimes think like this? I'm not asking for raise of hands. We may do that. Should I directly speak Krishna? People are afraid. I'll speak some motivation story. I'll say something else. I'll say, what is that? Panchatantra. I'll speak some Mahabharat stories, etc. We avoid, deliberately we avoid. This is not correct. If we deliberately avoid speaking about Krishna directly, we are also going to be sad. So Vyasdev did this, deliberately avoided, thinking that, oh, then people will not be able to follow this directly. But that should not be correct. Look at Srila Prabhupada. Why was Prabhupada successful? When Prabhupada was forming this mission, many people told him, please call this movement as International Society for God Consciousness. It will become universal. Prabhupada looked at them. I know God is Krishna. I will call this International Society for Krishna Consciousness, not God Consciousness. I know very clearly. He went directly. I was recently hearing a lecture of Srila Prabhupada, which he was speaking in assembly of very elite personalities from Western world. And there clearly he was telling Krishna, 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 Krishna. How many times? He never used the word God. Krishna will be pleased if you do this. They are asking questions about God and he's replying Krishna. And one person asked him, well, we are asking about God. He said, yes, Krishna is God. So how is Krishna God? Because he is the ultimate authority. Prabhupada spoke directly. And they had to, yes, we accept Krishna as authority. Seeing the conviction of Prabhupada, he could speak. We should never deliberately avoid glorifying Krishna. You have to check. Even in fact, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, once two disciples came to him. One disciple said, see, Guru Maharaj, see what all wonderful things have been written about our Mat, Gaudiya Mat. Please see. He read it. He said, okay. Then he saw another paper. And this is full blasphemy about Gaudiya Mat. How wrong things. They've written wrong things about you also, Guru Maharaj. Aapke bare mein bhi. They've written wrong. Please see. But seeing that wrong things, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur became happy. He said, Gurudev, this is good news. This is bad news. He said, I like the bad one more. Why? Because they have written more about Krishna. There's a lot of mention of Krishna, 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 Krishna. There's a lot of mention about Krishna. And more the people will come in contact with this holy name Krishna, the more they're going to get purified. Thus, this is my favorite article. So the more people come in contact with Krishna and his direct glories, direct Krishna Katha, that is what is going to give inner fulfillment. And not some mumbo jumbo stuff. Let's have some explanation. Now I want to present some four theories. The first theory is modern day atheistic theory. This says earn money. Artha means economic development and you enjoy. And then again you earn money, you enjoy. Earn money, enjoy. Artha, kama. Artha, kama. Artha, kama. This is the modern atheist and they will be utterly frustrated. And the disease of this modern civilization is even after so much of frustration, they again do the same thing. They don't try something new. See, if you are doing what you are doing, you will keep getting what you are getting. Correct? You do what you're doing, you'll keep what you're getting. You will get what you're getting only. You will not change. Still, the people don't change. They still suffer. By trying one type of enjoyment, they suffer. But still, they try it again, hoping that hum honge kamyab ek din, we shall overcome someday. Someday will be. That is the modern atheistic theory. Then there was a Vedic atheistic theory, where they did dharma, artha, kama, then again dharma, then artha, kama, dharma, artha, kama. This was a cycle that they did. So here, this is Vedic atheistic, at least they did dharma. But the purpose of dharma was to get artha, money, and with artha, they would do kama. Then again, they will go back to dharma, artha, kama, and they want to remain here. They remain in this material world, but they get some happiness. Why? They get happiness because their artha is based on dharma. Their economic development is based on religiosity. The example of this is Hiranyakashipu's civilization, Ravana's civilization. They did dharma, artha, kama, so they had some happiness. But still there was problem. Then there is Vedic theistic theory. The Vedic theistic theory is Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. You perform religious activities, you get economic development, you get the material enjoyment, but this kind of enjoyment gives you frustration, because of which you aspire for something better, moksha. But Vyasdev had explained all of these things, but Narada Muni said this is not good enough. You have to go beyond this. And that is the theory of Bhagavatam, which says Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha is four Purusharthas, but the purpose of these Purusharthas is Bhakti, which is the Panchama Purushartha. And that's what Krishna even says in the Bhagavad Gita. Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma Nashochati na Kankshati Samasarveshu Bhuteshu Madbhaktim Labati Param. I don't know, I've got blurred all of a sudden. Did you all do some magic? Or I've lost focus? I'm not very sure. I'll get back my focus, but request you all to read the next.
Sri Vyasadeva, as a authorized scholar, knew very well this difference. And still, instead of giving more importance to the better type of engagement, namely devotional service to the Lord, he had more or less improperly used his valuable time. And thus, he was despondent. From this, it is clearly indicated that no one can be pleased substantially without being engaged in the devotional service of the Lord. In the Bhagavad Gita, this fact is clearly mentioned.
Okay, thank you. My blur is gone. I removed my camera. Hope you're able to see me clearly. Yeah. Here, what is mentioned is Vyasdev is despondent because he wasted his time in doing things which are not important. Improper usage of time. Do you feel frustrated after improper usage of time? Instead of chanting Hare Krishna rounds, you're seeing too many YouTube shorts. We went and saw so many Insta reels and wasted 3 hours, 4 hours. We gossiped and did so much of prajalpa, so much of blasphemy, and wasted so much time in which we had to do service, we had to do sadhana. And now, after doing all these, our rounds are remaining in the night. We have not even read one page of Prabhupada book. We didn't have any spiritual nourishment. We even did not do seva. It brings the frustration. Yes, frustration comes when we uselessly, improperly use our time. That will make one despondent. That is also Bhagavatam. Very clearly it's mentioned.
After liberation, which is the last item in the line of performing religiosity, etc., one is engaged in pure devotional service. This is called the stage of self-realization or the Brahma Bhuta stage. Srimad Bhagavatam 4:30-20. After attainment of this Brahma Bhuta stage, one is satisfied. But satisfaction is the beginning of transcendental bliss. One should progress by attaining neutrality and equality in the relative world. And passing this stage of equanimity, one is fixed in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. This is the instruction of the personality of Godhead in the Bhagavad Gita.
We discussed that already, so we go to the conclusion directly.
The conclusion is that in order to maintain the status quo of the Brahma Bhuta stage, as also to increase the degree of transcendental realization, Narada recommended to Vyasadeva that he, Vyasadeva, should now eagerly and repeatedly describe the path of devotional service. This would cure him from gross despondency.
Hare Krishna. If you want to maintain in this world, maintenance, you have to increase the degree. 1 minute. You have to maintain family. Is it good that you get same salary every year? No, there has to be salary increment. For maintenance, increment. That's what happens in this world. Correct? You want to maintain your position, you have to put more efforts than what you put last year. Otherwise, you will not maintain your position. You will be removed. That is the law of this world. Similarly, even in Krishna consciousness bhakti, you cannot maintain your level. You have to keep increasing your sadhana. I'll just show you one drawing. Okay. And you have to tell me what's wrong with this drawing. All of you, please don't judge my drawing. Try to understand the essence of my drawing. I will draw it. I draw nicely on pen paper. I'm just trying my luck on online paper. Please don't laugh. Please understand my essence. Okay. So what is your observation? Anybody?
Plant is growing eventually into a tree.
Haribol Jay, I'm successful in doing drawing. I get good marks. Good marks. Okay. Is there something which you observe is weird?
Roots.
Yes, the roots have not grown. So the moral of the story is, if you want to grow in Krishna consciousness in number of years, we should deepen our practice of bhakti also. Correct? This deepening has to happen. The roots have to grow deeper. If the roots don't go deeper, when the shoot grows up and the roots are not deep, one knock of wind or storm can uproot that tree. Correct? So this is what happens to many of us. And that is why Prabhupada writes in the brilliant. Prabhupada's purports are deceptively simple, but they are very profound. In order to maintain the status quo of the Brahma Muhurta stage, maintain, as also to increase the degree of transcendental realization. You have to increase. Then only you maintain your growth. That is why even when we drive vehicle, there is nothing called velocity maintainer. There is accelerator. Do you have something called velocity maintainer? You put like the you remain at 20 kilometers per hour. No, there's an accelerator they use to increase the speed. Correct? There's an accelerator. So similarly in bhakti also our progress has to be accelerator. We grow in number of years, we have to deepen in our practice. We have to check. Are we chanting with better quality? Have we increased our reading of Prabhupada books? Have we increased our services? Is that growing? Or is that same? We are just growing in number of years. See, seniors means not one who has seen many years. Seen years means one who's seeing through more years. That is a senior. He's seeing through years. He has heard many lectures. He is associated with many devotees. He has rendered more services. He's chanting more. This is actually growth. Otherwise, we don't grow. The root remains same, we will be uprooted, will be knocked off. That is why in order to maintain, one has to accelerate, increase. That is Bhagavatam. That is what Prabhupada is telling us. And that's what Narad Muni also says. Increase what? Increase glorifying Krishna, which means if we want to get off the despondency and inner fulfillment lacking, one has to preach this Krishna conscious message. One should preach. That is the whole sum and substance of this section. That unless we preach Krishna consciousness directly, glorify Krishna directly, we will feel a hollow in our heart, even if we are doing our regular sadhana. Yes. Because if you don't sufficiently glorify Krishna, we will not have that inner fulfillment. Om Tat Sat. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. So we want to summarize quickly, see what we read. Quickly we'll sum up. We start off with Narad Muni telling that you have not sufficiently broadcasted the glories. We saw how Jiva and Lord complement each other. One serves, one is the served. And by this way, both will be satisfied. Lord doesn't need our service, but we need the service to Lord in order to feel fulfilled. Then we also saw that how other literatures do not glorify Krishna directly, Krishna is just one of the figures, not the central figure. And na shobhate jnanamalam niranjanam. Such literatures will not yield satisfaction. And we saw that if somebody just adheres to these literatures and not Bhagavatam, he becomes a Veda Vadarata. There's a good tendency that he may end up being so puffed up that he will go to the last snare of Maya, considering oneself God. Then Vyasdev himself very clearly later on, Narad Muni said this, so Vyasdev said, Srimad Bhagavate Mahamuni Krite Kimva Pared Ishvara. There is no need of any other literature than Srimad Bhagavatam. Then we go to the next verse where, again, directly only Chatush Purusharthas are not going to help. One has to go beyond Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha to Bhakti. That is the purpose of Moksha. After Moksha, one has to Mad Bhaktim Labate Param. That is important. Okay, and then here we saw that we can't just maintain, we have to increase. That is increasing is maintenance. We increase salary every year, correct? Why don't we increase service every year? We don't increase sadhana every year. Yeah, that is real maintenance. Thank you very much. We have about 5 minutes for question answers. Those of you who have question answers can
Yes.
ask.
Yes. Thank
Question
you very
answer,
much.
I'll read.
Yes.
Hare Krishna, Ram. Thank you for the wonderful class. I have a question on the phrase deliberate avoidance of glorifying the Lord. Even in our movement, sometimes we see that, say in college preaching, sometimes we see directly people not preachers not go and say that Krishna is the supreme person, but you chant Hare Krishna. Or even outside, we see someone like Gaurav Rao, right? Going and preaching other things, not directly uh, stressing on the glorifying the Lord. So how do we understand that?
Yeah. So in college preaching, we need to understand that we have an objective to achieve. Correct? The college preaching, what we do is we first tell people that there is spiritual solution to material problems. We try to explain that. We try to make spirituality relevant. And for that purpose, we present spirituality as a tool to solve material problems. Okay, anger management, come to spirituality. Your stress management, come to spirituality. Any problem, you have relationship problem, come to spirituality. We have solution for everything. And who gives the solution to everything? Well, Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita gives solution to everything. Arjuna had problem with what? He had problem with his mind. You have problem with mind? Yes. Arjuna had problem with his job. He didn't want to do his job. He wanted to quit job and run. You have like this problem with job? Yeah, I had a lot of problem in job. You have problem in family? Arjuna had a lot of problem in family. These are very three common problems. Problem in family, problem in job, problem in mind. These are very three common factors. All everyone has. So read the Bhagavad Gita. And when the person agrees to read the Bhagavad Gita, then we gradually build a subject. There is nothing wrong in gradually building up a subject. And see, even Srimad Bhagavatam in the first chapter doesn't speak about Ras Leela directly. It builds the subject very wonderfully. Atra sarga visargascha stanam poshanam utaya manvantra ishanukarani nirodamuttir ashraya. Finally comes to ashraya. So there is systematic presentation to bring us to the point of the Adiras. That is the Ras Leela. Understanding that Krishna's pastime with the gopis. There is nothing wrong with that when you have a systematic plan. But consistently, deliberately avoiding Krishna and only giving dharma, artha, kama, moksha, that is cheating. That's kaitava dharma. Okay. And as far as some preachers are concerned, we need to understand very clearly. They are creating a huge impact and a good name for ISKCON. Especially the preacher you mentioned about is getting recorded on air. So he's doing this service directly under the guidance of a spiritual master, number one. And number two, because he has rendered this service and created a good name and impact, we monks are also gaining acceptability in public. He's done a very, very wonderful service. We can't deny that. See, normally monks can talk to people who are in Sattva Guna and who want to go beyond Shuddha Sattva. Such people only are our audience. But he has catered to the audience who are in Tamogun and Rajogun also, and trying to elevate them to Sattva Gun, who become an audience for monks like us or devotees like us. Isn't that a thankless service? So see it that way. Okay.
Thank you very much, bro. Anyone else would like to ask any question?
Hare Krishna. So, when we read this part of Bhagavatam, where we see that Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita is very important, but other Vedas and Upanishads are not very important to us, or not very comparatively. But when we read the purports of Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam, we see that to explain those points, the references are given from Vedas, Upanishads. So, how do we understand that? First, in Bhagavatam, we say that it is not relevant very to us, and not very important. But while reading the purport, we get the same references. So, how do we understand?
Yes. So Prabhupada and Vyasdev, they are not rejecting other scriptures. No. They're not saying that they are waste, useless. They're saying it is not needed in this day and age of Kali Yuga. Why? Because it's very vast. See, what is now? I was just taking a house program. I'll repeat the same point. If you want to know something today, what you will do? Go to Google. Similarly, in Vedic time, people want to know something, they'll go to Vedas. So Veda is Google. It contains all information. Now we need to understand that we don't need to know all of it. Vedas have so many things: Karma Kanda, Jnana Kanda, Upasana Kanda, so many things. And if we get stuck, they are nothing but Vishera Bhanda. Jnana Kanda, Karma Kanda, Kevala Vishera Bhanda. We get stuck up with in one sense, those poisons and get entangled. So by the time a person comes to bhakti, it will be too late. We don't have much time in Kali Yuga. We have to directly come to the bottom line, come to the conclusion, right? So that is why it is very important to study the Srimad Bhagavatam, which hits the conclusion right from the beginning to the end. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudeva is the beginning, and Nama Sankirtanam Yasya is the end. Throughout, it's consistently talking only about Krishna Bhakti, which is actually how the Vedas systematically bring us to that point. So what the Vedas are going to take a person lifetimes, Bhagavatam can do it within 7 days. Of course, if you are like Parikshit. Get it? So there is nothing wrong in giving references from other Shastras, Upanishads, etc., where Prabhupada substantiates. There is nothing wrong at all, because he's just making his point profound. And he's making Bhagavatam very authentic. If you read the first canto, first chapter, first verse, there Prabhupada writes Bhagavatam has a reference in Matsya Puran, it has a reference in Padma Puran. Yes, it has many, many references. In various Shastras, it has references. Why? The others to make Bhagavatam authentic. Yes. So that is the whole purpose. So if you want to make your point authentic, you can borrow sources from other Shastras also. And some analogy is helping us to understand better, especially from Shvetashvatara Upanishad. There's an analogy of two birds sitting on the same tree. That is helping us understand the concept of Atma and Paramatma. Why not use it? Nothing wrong. Okay.
Anyone else would like to ask?
One last question, if there is any, otherwise we can conclude.
Ruchi, there's one question on the chat if you would like to take.
Okay. Sure. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, since Gita Marathon is going on, can you please explain how book distribution help us to grow personally in our spiritual life? I will not explain. I'll show you what Krishna says. Why should I explain? Let Krishna talk. 18.68 and 69. Ya idam paramam guhyam mad bhakteshu vidasati bhaktim mai param kritva mame vaishasi. Asamshaya. For one who explains the supreme secret to the devotees, pure devotion service is guaranteed. Now, devotees here doesn't mean, so Prabhupada clarifies, not for devotees, even non-devotees who are interested to become devotees, we can give them also. Explain this supreme secret means distributing Gita. Prabhupada will explain, don't worry. Pure devotion service is guaranteed. And at the end of the life, he will come back to me. There is no servant in the world more dear to me than this person who distributes the literature, nor will there be anyone more dear, ever. I hope that summarizes everything. You want to become most dear to Krishna? Well, distribute Bhagavad Gita and become the most dear to Krishna, and definitely will grow in spiritual life. At the end of the life, we'll go back to God. Hare Krishna. Is that okay? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji.
हरे कृष्णा। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। समस्त गौ भक्त वृंद की जय। निताय गौर प्रेमानंदी।
Hare
Thank you
Hare.
so much. Hare.
Thank you, Prabhuji. We'll try to follow the message of trying to speak more about Krishna, hear more about Krishna, and it was really very inspiring to hear from you. Thank you again very much, Prabhuji.
Yes, I'll also try to follow. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you all devotees. I will. Let's meet.